Welcome to the Wizards of Ecom, your no-fluff playbook for online success. Each episode is fully packed with actionable tactics you can implement in your business right now. Take your life to a higher level and excel in your online success. It's time to work on you and your business. Let's do this. Welcome back to the Wizards of Ecom. My name is Carlos Alvarez, and I'll be your host for the show. In today's episode, I am riding solo. It'll just be you and I chatting on a topic that was inspired by a question I was recently asked by my friend Stefano Gasparini at one of our Wizards of Ecom Amazon seller events in Miami, Florida. So question comes at the tail end of our beginner hour segment for anybody that was there. And in case you've not attended any of our Amazon seller meetups events before, to sort of give you a framework to look at this or a lens to look at this through, is that we meet 16 times per month. All of our events are free. And on our Saturday events, they're a little special because they're sort of two-part. We start first hour being this, AMA, Ask Me Anything beginner hour. And then the next 1.5 hours is our topic of the week with a guest speaker. So I believe this question came in last week, and our guest speaker was Rob Stanley, CMO of Getita, and we did like a deep dive on how to use YouTube. Great topic, how to use YouTube in our to leverage our Amazon business. But taking a step back to the beginner hour, so we're about halfway through the beginner hour. There's a little bit of a lull, and Stefano asks me what I feel people are not focusing on enough or asking about enough, and I don't understand why, or something close to that. Stefano, if you're listening, I did my best to capture at least the spirit of the question, and I thought it was a brilliant question. So we're going to do an episode on this, and I can share the answers that I gave, plus add an additional one that I wish I would have added if I had more time. So before sharing what I am shocked more people are not talking about, I want to share with you an opportunity to do yourself and your business a solid, and that is attending Online Seller Cruise. We sail from February 5th through February 13th, and we leave from the port of Miami. Grab your ticket and secure your cabin by visiting onlinesellercruise.com. Now, taking it back to Stefano's question after our amazing plug of Online Seller Cruise, but taking it back to Stefano's questions. Stefano's question was great on a lot of levels, and that is what happens a lot when people attend, and this is a little aside, a little golden nugget, I feel, for a solid question you can ask in almost any event you're in where you're trying to up your game. And that is, at some point, you don't know what you don't know. And in this case, it's a beginner hour. So rather than racking your brain for a specific question, if you can't think of one right now, sort of switch the dynamic, change the game, and ask me what I think people should be asking. I definitely had some answers to this. And like I mentioned, I'm going to share them here. Before going into what my answers were, I think since this is an ecom podcast, we talk a lot about Amazon, but this is not a one size fits all for every ecom business. So I was in an Amazon seller meetup at the time. So my question, I accepted the question as coming from an Amazon seller, which Stefano is, and I answered it coming from or looking through the lens of a private label seller. So as a private label seller, here are the 3 things that I think people should be talking about and are not. So that's where my answers are coming from. Another thing is, since it was what other people are not talking about but should be, then I like, for example, all things shipping from China is extraordinarily top of mind right now, and it's already being dissected and discussed. So that's not going to be on my list because we're already talking about it, and people are asking questions about that. Just like inventory limits. Inventory limits are being talked about a lot. I think these are 2 crazy important topics, but I'm not going to talk about them in my 3 answers to this question in this episode, because again, we're talking about it. I hope that makes sense. So number 1 on my list of what people, private label sellers should be asking about, should be doing, should be talking about a lot, but are not, is Amazon Live Video. So I cannot say it enough. Wow. I've recorded 3 separate podcast episodes on this topic. I've spoken at the Rise event on this topic. I've spoken at several other events on this topic. And in my opinion, one of the most exciting tracks
where a speaker spoke about this topic at Prosper Show was on Amazon Live Video and the power of Amazon Live Video. So outside of me and one track on at Prosper Show, and I think I had a lot to do with influencing that would be a track at Prosper Show. Besides that, I don't hear anything about it. And I see very little people doing it. And mind you, I'm somebody who organizes the largest Amazon seller meetup group in the world. I have a massive network of people in my network that are sellers. And this is just not a topic that's being talked about. And it blows me away. When I was doing an Amazon Live video with Dima Kubrak of Seller Rise, who's also the founder of the Rise event where I spoke on this topic, Dima asked me, and Dima's very raw, no rehearsed questions or anything like that. So he just asks me, he goes, what's an important metric, or what's my favorite metric? I forget which one, but like either favorite or important metric to track with Amazon Live videos. And without hesitation, I said sales. Yeah, Amazon Live Video will get you what matters most to you, and that is sales, money, transactions, conversions, sales. So most people, if you can get them to talk about Amazon Live Video, they seem to think that it's a brand awareness play or something like that. And while it can be, you get sales from Amazon Live Video, and that's what we're trying to get, right? Traffic and conversion. Traffic to the Amazon Live Video, conversion to your product. Another important reason to go live on Amazon is ease of getting followers. And by followers, I mean people that are, you can give a call to action. You can encourage people to hit that follow button, which is very similar to subscribing to you on YouTube. And gaining followers, I suspect, is going to be very, very important with some really cool features and ads and targeting that Amazon's going to be rolling out in the very, very near future. So getting followers to your brand by hitting the follow button. Another one is showing up on your competitors' product detail pages for free. I mean, who does not want their product shown up on a complimentary or competitor product detail page for free? This is a competitor that maybe has significantly more traffic than you, a competitor that's priced a lot more expensive than you, or an inferior competitor that you just want to show people like, hey, there's a better option out there. Finally, a final reason, and then I'll get off my Amazon Live Video horse, is ranking. I use Amazon Live Video to rank doing verbal search find buys, and it works fantastic. So if those three reasons don't convince you, I don't know what else will. Let me not act like I have no idea why there's friction for Amazon Live Video, and let me share a little aside with you about Amazon Live Video and my history with just live video. And that is, 5 years ago, I started the Amazon Seller Meetup Group, and we began it in around August. And so we're about 2.5, 3 months into the Meetup Group's existence, and we're at end of year. And we don't have meetups the last 2 weeks of December. So what I decided a cool topic would be is ask people like, hey, what's 1 to 3 things that are outside of your comfort zone that you're going to focus on this year to grow, personally and professionally. So everyone goes around the table, and by that point, about 12 people there, about half the people there were regulars already. So it was a cool atmosphere. And then I get ready to dismiss the table and tell everybody we'll see each other in 3 weeks. And then I forget who it was, but somebody turns it on me and says, what about you? You didn't go. And to that point, the group was all me give. And I wasn't really growing as a seller myself, but that one question that was turned on me, I had to really think about it. I couldn't give a fluff answer. Excuse my cough. So I said something like, I'm going to go to Toastmasters. And then somebody said, yeah, that's cool. Like, everybody can grow as a speaker, but you already speak a lot. Like, you're speaking every week and you talk for hours. That doesn't seem like it's so far out of your comfort zone. And I'm like, that's fair. And then somebody says, what about going live? And the reason for that is some of the people couldn't attend the group on a group event on a specific day, but they wanted to hear about it. They wanted to learn what was talked about and feel like they were still current on what's going on in the group. So my palms started sweating live. Are you kidding me? That's terrifying. Everybody saw it on my face and they're like, yes, you just pushed all of us to find the thing like we're most scared about, and why don't it be live video? So I couldn't be hypocritical about it. And I said, okay, so I get that going live can be terrifying for some people, but it's something you're just going to have to get past, in my opinion. You definitely want to be doing Amazon live video, or if you just can't get past it, hire someone who does. The fact is, if you're not doing Amazon live video, you're leaving a lot of money on the table, and you're not focusing on some of the lowest hanging fruit on Amazon right now. So the second thing that I think most people are not talking about as an Amazon private label seller, and should be, because people are getting it very, very wrong. And I know this is an unsexy topic, but is relationship building. So relationship building for me has to be one of the highest ROI activities I can do in my business. And the topic is so near and dear to my heart, and I see so many people getting it wrong, that I may dedicate an entire future episode to this topic. So relationship building doesn't, let me cover 2 points of relationship building so that you have something to build off of after this episode. And that is, relationship building does not begin and end with your factory. And there are a lot of reasons why this intentional act or this intentional investment in relationships does not begin and end with so I can get terms or so I can get preferred pricing. Even though these are 2 very real benefits that could come from it, some other killer perks are the prioritization of you in the manufacturing queue, quicker lead times, greater quality control. The list goes on and on. Another area that of relationship building that you could really see a great ROI from if you focus on or invest in is in the way of agencies and freelancers. So I'm a seller, and I also have an agency. So as a seller, I have an in-house team, but I also have freelancers that we go to for certain areas of our business. And we also have agencies. So even though I have an agency, I still work with some agencies in different areas of my physical product businesses on Amazon. And then on the agency side, there are some areas in an agency where an agency works with an agency, or an agency has freelancers for a role that doesn't make sense to have in a full-time position. So I'm very aware of relationships in the agency freelancer world from both sides of the fence on this. And all too often, the agencies and freelancers that that I see people working with are treated as, disposable, almost like the redheaded stepchild of the business. The first thing to cut is almost the vibe. And my relationship building in this area not only feels great, but it pays for itself a million times over with quicker and higher quality turnaround times for my work, extra attention to my gigs. And this does not have to be a major time consuming or like time sucking thing. 2 books I recommend to really be a master in this realm of, relationship ROI, if you will. And my friend Tom Mays is just a master at, is The Go-Giver and Giftology. So a final example to close out this topic is I'm going to say 99% of the people I know have not even endorsed, and this is just a low-hanging fruit thing you could do to start building that relationship and becoming more important. So 99% of the people I know have not even endorsed their freelancer or agency on LinkedIn, left a public review on their Facebook business page, created a quick video testimonial. On the services side of my business, I have only, going on 9 years, I've only had 1 client out of all the happy clients who I have grown with over the years, only 1 took the time to randomly leave an endorsement on LinkedIn page. I'm not saying LinkedIn is like the holy grail of what you should do, but it is something you could very easily do. It's a click. And to this day, this person that left me who randomly left me this endorsement on LinkedIn, I bend over backwards to prioritize their company and my work, even though they are nowhere near my largest client. So it's super, super, super important that you have at least an eye or some sort of strategy on the relationship aspect of growing your business. Let me tell you another side note, and this is paying for. I'm reaping the profits. Profits in air quotes. I'm reaping the profits from this right now. Is early 2020 pandemic sets in. Most people just start firing people, cutting their orders, negotiating to pay less for things because, winter is coming, so to speak. And I sat down, gave this a lot of thought, started reaching out to some of like the C-level people in my teams. And we looked at that number, and yes, margins were going to get squeezed a little bit. And this was, what we could potentially be seeing. And we didn't know that e-commerce was going to explode. Like I'm talking about in the early months when things looked very bleak. And we looked at that number, and then we looked at the number like, okay, this is not going to go on forever. It's definitely gone on longer than we thought it would, but this is not something that's going to last forever. And on the other side of this, what is the cost of losing these relationships because they go out of business, because, they have to radically raise prices, they lose their employees? Like what is the cost of the employees leaving us and us having to rehire after we've done all this training? And when we looked at that number, it paled in comparison to the other. So we decided, while everybody's cutting people, we're going to hire. While everybody's, negotiating prices down, we're going to give raises. We're going to reach out to our freelancers, our factories, our agencies. And instead of like threatening them with like, hey, you're gone if you can't do this impossible thing or perform at the same level in this impossible time, we were like, hey, look, what's going on with you guys? This is what's going on with us. How can we help? Like, how can we make this work throughout this hard time? And now I'm reaping the rewards of that, where a lot of people are struggling, like, oh my God, we need to hire people. We lost who we had in the pandemic. We don't. We have everybody. They're stronger than ever. They're more loyal than ever. And I think that's just one small, very real recent way thing that I could share with you regarding, relationship ROI. Final thing, and I'll get off that because I told you it's near and dear to my heart, and I don't want to geek out too much about it. But final thing that I think most people are not talking about it, at least in the way that they should be, and that is having a merchant fulfilled solution for this Q4, this one, 2021. Okay, this is huge. I'm recording this episode August 16th of 2021, and I feel like this convo is really just beginning. I think since the Only Essentials, only FBA Essentials move by Amazon in early 2020 happened, that since then everyone's kind of like, okay, back to normal is right around the corner. And I sort of always feel the need to tiptoe around this topic in fear of being seen as a pessimist, too discouraging, or like too discouraging to new PL sellers, or too doomsday-ish on FBA this Q4. But you're a loyal listener. I mean, I'm going to share it to you raw always. And who knows, let's look at this in Q1 and let's go back and look at this episode and see if I was right. While I love FBA, I really do. I love FBA. I would wear it on my hat, a shirt. I love FBA. It's done wonders for all aspects of my life. But while I do love FBA, the pre-COVID-19 FBA model we knew and loved is gone. I mean, it is gone. IPI scores, inventory limits at a SKU level, the near impossibility of shipping containers direct to FBA from China for most accounts. Like, it's done. Like that's the new reality. It won't go back to how it was pre-COVID. I feel that the convos surrounding FBA are still heavily in the camp of when, like when talking or complaining about, further restrictions on inventory limits, I feel like most people are saying, well, that'll be better in 30 days. And, things will be back to normal soon, or this can't last forever. In my very humble but very, very experienced opinion, I do not think it is going to open up in any meaningful way before Q4. Yeah, we're going to see some, again, to emphasize that, I think we're going to see some opening up, but not to what you're accustomed to having in previous Q4s. Okay? So in another way, I don't think it will have whatever amount they do open up, I don't believe it's going to have a meaning. Said another way, I don't think it's going to have a meaningful impact on Q4. Having said that, I do not think all is lost. I think the convo and actions people should be taking now, instead of me just talking about what they're not doing, I think the convo and actions people should be taking or talking about now are how to set up a robust merchant fulfilled plan. I think we are going to see one of the best Q4s in the way of sales in the history of Amazon. That's just my gut. So how to get your business ready to leverage this with potentially 50% of your sales not being handled by FBA. An exercise I do all the time is, how do I put myself out of business? And I feel like going through that exercise will allow me to strengthen myself in areas that I'm weaker. If last Q4 of 2020, you did not have access to FBA for 50% of your sales, could you have managed? Like that's sort of the question to get the internal conversation going in your company. So what I would like to see is, I'd like to see your business ready to fully leverage this gravy train and this awesome Q4 that we're about to have, with or without FBA. So this sort of ties into the last thing I'm going to share on part of why I think this conversation of having a merchant fulfilled solution for this Q4 is important. And that's 3PLs. So Deliver, that's Deliver, Deliverr. That's a new partnership we have. But Deliver, my FBA prep, my new favorite is Remo Corp. And while you can throw a rock and hit a prep center nowadays, not all prep centers are created equal. Most reputable prep centers have a cap on how many clients they're willing to take to maintain. This is so that they can, not because they don't want new business, but they want to be sure that they can maintain the high quality and quick ship times that they promised their customers. So this is especially true during Q4. What you're going to see a lot is these reputable, 3PLs, they will cap who they take. So you're going to reach out to them at some point if you're too close to Q4 or you're in Q4, and they're just going to say no. And the majority of the people, my FBA prep, Deliver, they may keep taking, but Remo Corp would probably keep taking, but they might do a cap. But what happens is you get into this situation where the only people that are willing to take you on are people that sort of threw up a 3PL at the last second just for this Q4, and they don't have the experience or the infrastructure to be able to ship promptly and prep correctly. So I cannot emphasize enough how important I think 3PLs are going to be in this Q4. Not 3PLs instead of Amazon, but having a robust either internal merchant fulfilled program or a merchant fulfilled program complemented by 3PLs to complement your FBA game and relieve some of the strain on the Amazon FBA system. So I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm going to wrap it up because I want to keep it, relatively short and spare you my bronchitis voice. I hope my voice is doing a lot better in a future episode. And, between now and then, I truly hope you keep crushing it in your business. Listen, I sincerely want to keep the conversation going with you on this. If you want to know how to, scale Amazon Live Video, you want to know what you should go live about, you want to really flesh that out. You want to know relationship building techniques that I use. You have ideas you want to throw around. You want to talk about merchant fulfilled solutions. You want introductions to any of these pretty amazing 3PLs that I know. Reach out to me on Telegram. Join our Telegram chat group. It's free. AmazonGroupChat.com. Jump in there. Let me know your thoughts. Even if you disagree, especially if you disagree with me, I want to talk about that. I'll share everything I know about, these topics or any others that we have. Maybe based on the conversation we have, it turns into a meetup event or we jump in a private chat, but I definitely want to help you. And I definitely love hearing from people that listen to the show. It means the world to me. With that, I'm going to wrap up and I will talk to you next week.
It was fun sharing this episode with you. If you found value in what you've heard, please show your love with a subscribe, rate, and review of the show. Until next time.